So a couple of things I want to address before we move forward. There were some questions about templates, and when will we have finalized templates? I know there's frustration there, and you can blame me because when I came on board, it drove me nuts that we had 100 different templates floating around. Can't hear? Is this better? Okay. So one thing I wanted to show, this is for elementary currently. We're revising at the elementary level, and we've had requests from PK-12 to make it look similar to the backwards design templates. So that's been our task. This is for reading language arts. I don't know why I keep getting feedback. So notice we've got enduring understandings. We are going to create enduring understandings for people to choose from. We do not want teachers spending their time spinning their wheels creating the enduring understandings. If they want to, great, but we're going to create a bank that they can choose from that would be applicable to their unit. So this is an example. We're not going to include them on the GVC template, but they will be accessible because we want them to have choice. So this is just an example of what it might look like. So we have enduring understandings. We have the world-class outcomes, which we are in the process of revising. They include all 4 C's. So as teachers create their units, they just go to the appropriate template, boom, pull them off. Okay? Then notice the big ideas. Those will be the district-developed interim assessments. Okay, that's not something they have to do. That will be systems performance. And then at the bottom, it says the Common Core and Colorado Academic Standards. It's in gray, but those will be hyperlinked to the progressions and the Colorado standards. Does that make sense? The bottom part? Okay.
I asked because we're doing a school-wide training, and we were going to ask our teachers to create all these enduring understandings.
I wouldn't have to do it.
Okay.
We can.
I'm asking you to repeat it all so I can make sure I'm clear when I talk about BRT.
Okay. We are in the process of creating enduring understandings for the district for teachers to choose from because they are very difficult to create, and we don't want them spending their time there. If they are really good at it and they want to come up with their own, they certainly have that option. We are trying to get this out as quickly as possible. The people that will be attending Monday and Tuesday, you'll be vetting the ones that we've already created. So hopefully we will be able to get them out in the next couple weeks. So they will be able to choose from the enduring understandings. I've put them on this template just to give you an example, but that will be, it'll just say enduring understandings, the teachers can put their own in. The world-class outcomes for elementary, secondary is a little bit behind, are in the process of being revised and upped for rigor and to include the 4 C's. They will not have to do that. They will be in the outcomes. The big ideas is what system performance is working on, and they're waiting for us, quite frankly. Those will be the interim assessments, district created. They will not have to do that, from what I'm being told. Yes?
You might answer this later on, but in the old document, there was a direct link to the Colorado State Standard that it came from. Are you going to show us what that is?
So at the very bottom is the Common Core and Colorado Academic Standards. Then you will go to the 3 little boxes, or however many boxes are underneath that, and it will be hyperlinked to that and the learning progression. So it will be accessible, but that's not where we want the focus to be. But if they need to differentiate for students, scaffold for students, it will be available. It will be hyperlinked. Is there any confusion? This is where we're going, and we're hoping to get there very, very soon. That I'm not sure of, because the big ideas, those boxes, argument, creativity, inquiry, those will eventually be the interim assessments, but they can't develop those until we get the templates finished.
And also those big ideas for assessment, that's how they can link from your approach.
Right.
In your interim assessment. So they're going to be assessing argument over time.
Yes.
Second, third, fourth, and fifth. Within English language arts, so that they can see how students will grow.
Our goal for elementary is to have all of our templates revised by December and ready to go. Yes, sir. Our goal for elementary is to have the GVC templates revised and ready to go by December. Yes, sir.
We created different middle school documents around the GVCs for science. And so we wrote specific not content, but specific verbiage around those skills. And I'm wondering, do I click on something to see those, or are those no longer in this document?
I missed your first part, I'm sorry.
So I guess what I'm asking is, we've, at both schools, handed out the previous version of the GVC document that was structured differently. I do like the addition of the enduring understandings and some of the restructuring, but there's a lot of what we've told the teachers to, your ultimate accountability is to Colorado academic standards, but these things that were written in science specifically to help frame, maybe they're the more big ideas, but they help frame some of your work with your kids, is sort of how we rolled the GVCs out to them. What I'm wondering is that verbiage that was worked on by teachers specifically in science, is that somewhere in this, or is that sort of now not part of the GVC document or template?
Because I wasn't.
I can tell you that I've been working on the secondary one, and I basically have a completed version of this for secondary science, and it looks very similar to this. I have enduring understandings, big ideas, world-class outcomes, and I use next generation science standards. The problem with that is they're not adopted yet, and so I use the K-12 framework essentially, and so the big ideas ended up being the big components of K-12 framework. So if you're thinking science, one of the things is practices in science, another one's cross-cutting concepts, and so the world-class outcomes, big ideas, enduring understandings are all around that, and then the Colorado academic standards become the floor. I don't think Dana has yet seen that. I can share that with you. I don't know if that answers your question, though.
No.
No?
No, Tammy and I have talked about this quite a bit. We sat in the same group. Would you, I'm sorry, I've forgotten your name, though.
I think your question is, what's the difference between the GVC document and this template?
That summarizes it. I don't see the verbiage of what we worked through in this document.
There's no content. There's no...
The content that we worked on was to take, and science is a bit of a...
Not content.
Unfortunately, the next generation science standards were not adopted when we worked on it. We recognized that. We sort of stayed towards the national science standards versus the Colorado in general, but it was still kind of a morphing of those. And so we took those and sort of made, at the time we believed they were more enduring understandings, or that concept has changed in its definition, so now there may be more big ideas. But I don't see those big ideas that we worked on in this, and that's where I'm wondering where those exist, is my question.
I think the specifics are what we're sort of...
The specifics.
So I think what I think I'm hearing is that we did have world-class targets at the top of our old GVC documents, and those we renamed to world-class outcomes. So the world-class outcomes will still be right here in the document, but those will also have to be a little bit re-looked at to make sure we incorporate the 4 C's within them. Additionally, what I found in our, especially secondary language arts, that there isn't alignment from 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th. That's really clear that we can see growth in argument or growth in creativity. They're pretty, I would say, mishmash a little bit. So we're looking at also that alignment between K-12. So there will be a lot that does stay, that may, nice, I won't say a lot, but there will be some that stays the same, but there will be some that also evolves and might represent more of the national standards for science or pieces like that. We're not getting rid of, we can't say we're getting rid of Common Core or the Colorado academic standards, but those are on the bottom as hyperlinks. What we found when we put them within the GVC document, that we did try to combine them to make it more user-friendly in that way, but we also noticed when we looked at them is that most of them were at that application level at the most. Not all of them, we won't say 100%, but it didn't go beyond application. So we're really trying to focus on that high level up here, and then if you, when you need those standards, they're there. No, we're not, you can still access them. Does that answer the question? Maybe?
Well, Perhaps it does. I view my role in here, and if we had the great cone of silence from when we were growing up, you know, to get smart, and it actually worked. You know, within the confines of what our task is here to represent the GVCs in a, not just a positive light, but in the value that they bring to teachers, we've done some work around that with the previous version. We didn't call it a template, but we've actually kind of rolled that out. And so herein lies my, and I think you probably answered it in that most of that's gone, but I think it's really important that we maybe have a norm for this group that when we go out of here and we communicate these things to our staff, that we understand how to communicate that. Because in the 7 years, I'm starting my 7th year, I think I've gone through, this might represent the 4th version of how I would decide what I teach in my classroom. And so I really mean this in the most positive way. I need to make, and again, back to my philosophical thing, to make real change in this district about our belief system around education, we have to be really careful how often we change the schematic for what that is. And you guys don't have an hour, but really, I mean, I think this is a critical place in our district where we need to seize this moment. And I agree with the change. I agree with, you know, this morning I was talking to a group of parents saying, if we continue to teach your child in the same manner that you and I learned, then I'm doing your child a disservice. So I think the change is critical. What we've got to do is we can't teach in a classroom where we start the year with an expectation that the kids know how they can be successful, and then we change the language on them. I'm sorry if that comes off negative, but I want this group, a norm of this group is we want to really make this work for our schools and be the best thing. And I guess I feel a sense of loss in some of the work that's been done, and this is not any individual. This has been a pattern in our district that we've got to land somewhere together, and a form's not going to do it. A philosophical belief system is, and that I better stop. Sorry.
Are there any other questions? Yes. The ones that are on the website? The ones that are on the website currently. This will eventually replace that, yes. So we should not be using the old set? No. Use the old set. All we are doing is going through and vetting what currently exists through Bloom's at the charge of the superintendent to make sure that the outcomes have the 4 C's in them and that they hit the high level of Bloom's. That's what we are doing. But I am someone that I'm not going to roll, I'm showing you, but I'm not rolling this out until everything is done, and it will all come out together. So the GVC templates, backwards design templates, I'm not going to just throw stuff out when not everything is done together. Yes, ma'am.
I'm looking at an enduring understanding and I'm trying to figure out what my evaluator thinks is an enduring understanding, then I'm missing the point, correct? Because I should be looking at what makes good teaching, what do my kids need to know, not what does my evaluator think is an enduring understanding. Do you follow me there? So I think the revision is a great thing. My concern is we have lots of staffs who are going to be going through a backwards planning course with an old template. So we're giving them all the theory, which is fabulous. We're giving them that they need to backwards plan, which is fabulous. but we're not giving them the most current tool that will make their work easier so they can be more effective teachers. Does that? So what do we do if we are in that middle part?
Okay, here's what I will tell you, and I apologize only being on the job 4 months. The template for backwards design, in a sense, is only as good as the paper it's written on. It's not about the template. It's about the components that go into each stage. When I came on board, I wanted to make it seamless and easier for teachers. That's what we're in the process of doing. But you can use the old template. You don't even have to use a template. Some people don't want to, but they know the components. That's the key. You know the components and you align within and among all the stages. That's the process. You can use whatever template you want. I was just tired of having 100 different templates floating around, and none of them had the same language, none of them had the same stuff. That's why I thought it would be important to provide resources. Remember, it's choice for people, except the GVCs. It's a choice if they want to use it or not. But I wanted it to all look the same and be as easy as possible. That's why we're doing it. They can choose to use it or not. I want to show you quickly. Yeah.
You said elementary's goal was by December. Do we know where secondary is? Are they using the same format, and what's their timeline?
That's a really big question. We're looking at the same timeline. It might be January.
The same format.
Yeah. Yeah, and the electives will be using the new template to create theirs. They'll be a step ahead.
So we apologize, but hopefully when you come back from winter break, this is all going to be done. Does that at least help somewhat? I wanted to show you this. Did you already download it? Here it is. Nope, I don't want that one. Don't want that one. There we go. Okay. Do you see how this looks very similar to the GVC template? So, this is the new backwards design template. Yeah.
It's getting older. But anyways, being able to see all the things. So originally it was presented to us as the cookbook version of the Colorado Academic Standards, like the abridged version. And if you wanted to go deeper, you go to the Colorado Academic Standards. Now, all of those things. No.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
All of those things. Now it's the big idea. So is that more of an addendum rather than a replacement, or is it a replacement of what existed before?
It's not a replacement. The Colorado academic standards that were currently on there are just now going to be hyperlinked. We have just taken the outcomes and filtered them through Bloom's and upped the rigor. And then the big ideas have shown up because those will be the interim assessments. I know it doesn't seem like it, but we're trying to connect what all the departments are doing and expecting into one document. This is the backwards design template. Again, we're not going to roll it out till everything's complete, but we're very close. It's got enduring understandings on there with the questions, just like the old one. It's got essential questions on there. It's got the big ideas, which you can take from the interim, and it's got the world-class outcomes. Yes? The Colorado academic standards? No. That's what you want the kids to master by the end of the year, but you can access the Colorado academic standards to scaffold the learning if they're not there yet. The Colorado academic standards, I'm going to tell you right now, are not that rigorous. So we're not changing them because they're not going to be able to do those outcomes I showed you without doing what the Colorado academic standards is asking them to do, because they're lower on Bloom's. You can't critically think and create unless you can analyze, evaluate, synthesize, remember. Yes?
As somebody who was in stage 1 of the GVC development, and now we've seen stage 3, or like, I guess it's, you know, GVC 1, we've got GVC 2, and now you're showing us GVC 3. I also am extremely happy with the direction that I see that we're going. And I want to piggyback on what the person over there said about, I see the intention here is to make it more user-friendly and really support the teachers in their ability to do their jobs. And I think that's awesome. But the problem that I have to reinforce what was also said is there is so much frustration around the work that we're trying to do within our building, and we're not prepared for it. So I want to make sure that I heard you correctly earlier when you advised us to just maybe slow down rather than because it's that feeling of we've already been working on our stage 1s of our units, and I know it's not wasted work because it has caused us to do a lot of valuable thinking. However, with the idea of time efficiency and everything else, and just you can see what's happening just in here, we're also charged with that pressure of taking that back to our building and communicate it. And I know that I'm going to have to take what's happening here back first to my administrators and then to my colleagues on November PLC Day. So the feeling that I'm hearing is that I think it would be wise for our teachers to really be continuing to think about what the Bloom's aspects of all of this, but what I want to know is this version here that you're showing us, are you going to forward that to us to show our administrators, or do we wait until December?
It's not going out until everything's complete.
Okay.
I'm just showing you to tell you this is where we're going.
And
I
so,
don't want to throw it out into the district until we are ready for it.
okay.
Because I know you've had several changes come at you, and I want this to be a package deal, and it will come out. Because you're doing stage 1, we're not changing anything about stage 1. We haven't changed any of the components. We've changed the look. The components are still the same. So if you're working on stage 1, keep doing it. If you're using the GVC templates, great, keep doing it. We're just upping the rigor of them. And we're just changing the look. It's a little fashion tweak to it.
So would it be possible to tell our colleagues, for example, that we need to do the work to really focus on doing a backwards design unit for one unit, but know that we're not going to have to do all of these units because there's going to be more support coming?
There is going to be more support coming, yes.
Get your head around one, but know that what's taking us 5 hours to come up with an enduring understanding takes a long time.
And that's why we decided to do district-wide enduring understandings. I don't want teachers spending 5 hours on one piece. That's not the intent. Well, I mean, just even on that part, it could take 5 hours to come up with a good enduring understanding. I mean, I've been doing it for 10 years. It still takes me a long time. I want them to focus on creating a great unit, not that. So as much stuff as we can have them just pull in, great. I want them to focus on putting together a great unit. Question over here. No, are we good? Okay, so this is just a cosmetic change. I know you have seen what systems performance has done. I know I'm messing up your computer. So here's stage 2. See, system performance triangle. We added that. It still says summative, interim, formative at the bottom, with questions to guide. We also added, or we will be adding, hyperlinks to the 4C's rubrics if you want to use them. And we have up there to help them, go ahead and evaluate your unit against SITE, the backwards design rubric, BAS. We're trying to tie all this stuff together to help. Make sense? And then the final one for stage 3, I know I'm doing it again, is this. And it's got the learning strategies. So it's got the same Bloom's triangle because we want those learning strategies and instructional strategies to be high level. And it's going to have links to the 4C rubrics as well. So that's where we're going with it. I just wanted to give you an introduction and a heads up as to where we're headed. Okay? Now, because I know you guys are having a ton of fun, I can tell. Right? So last time I was with you, we talked about stage 1. So, are you ready to do something fun? You're like, no, I want to go home. Do we have big sticky papers? I'm going to have you in your groups. How much time do we have, by the way? Oh, we have about half an hour. Perfect. Okay, we were going to get into stage 2, but as you can see with the time, we're not going to. But we will do it next time. So what I'm going to have you do in your groups, and this is going to be kind of a formative assessment for me, I want you to pick an activity or a sport. Okay? Go ahead and take a few minutes amongst your colleagues and think of an activity or sport. Hiking, swimming, riding a bike, playing piano. Totally does not matter to me. Okay? What you're going to do for that activity or sport, and this is where you're going to have fun, I can feel it, I can sense it, you are going to create stage 1 for that activity or sport. Okay, you're going to do a stage 1. Now, can someone tell me what components go in stage 1? It's going to be a quiz. What components? Who wants the microphone? Carrie, what components go in stage 1?
Enduring understandings, essential questions, and world-class outcomes.
Okay, so again, eventually we'll have a bank of enduring understandings. And I will actually even give you some examples on the computer. I want you to come up with 1 enduring understanding for your activity or sport, 2 essential questions, and 2 outcomes. And make sure your outcomes are high-level blooms. 1 essential question, or I'm sorry, 1 enduring understanding, 2 essential questions, and 2 world-class outcomes for your stage 1. Okay? I can. I will write that for you. Now, get crazy, have fun, and we'll see what you come up with.